Good morning, guys. Welcome. This is Victor. Good morning, guys. Welcome. This is Victor from Username Investments Limited. I am at Joska. I want to take you to a trip to Gardenia Estate along Kangundo Road. Gardenia Estate Kangundo Road is approximately 1 hour's drive from Nairobi CBD. And the beauty about Gardenia Estate Kangundo Road, it is the proximity from the main Kangundo Road, the development, infrastructure that is coming up, the scenic views and the ambience of Kilimambogo Hills. You can book a free site visit every Wednesday and every Saturday morning with Username Investments Limited.
Good afternoon. Today we are talking about Chama movement in Kenya. The Chama movement have been very aggressive over so many years. And one of the most weird thing in our time, for the last 5 years, if you didn't belong to a Chama, it looked like something was wrong with you. We know the social aspect of a Chama, and there's also the economic or the investment aspects of a Chama. Most people come together socially, but their objective is to enhance their financial well-being. Basically, they come together so that their finances can their lifestyles, but they come together socially. Welcome to the live session. We are live in Facebook, we are live in Instagram, and we are live in YouTube. We hope you'll be able to engage us. Please tell us whether you are a member of a Chama and what projects you are doing, how you are faring, and we'll be able to engage with you. Where your Chama might be a waste of time, very important this time. The Chama movement have been very active for a long time. If you can remember clearly, our parents, our mothers, most of the things they have been able to do is because of table banking. They used to have Chamas where they used to come together, pull money aside, and they have bought so many things, those plates at home, those plastic chairs for events. There are those who used to buy blankets, basins, and many other things. You can basically see the outcomes and the achievements of Chamas if you look at your parents back at home. And it has been consistent for many years. But for the last 10 to 20 years, something happened in the country. We have movements, we have things that do come. It's like fashionable. It became fashionable to join a Chama. It used to be women, but right now it is everyone, youth, men, and everyone else. So if you're not in a Chama, it looks like something is wrong with you. And the movement have been there. Initially we had so many Chamas, but over time they have been dying. Why have they been dying? Today I would like to cover this topic because even in Username Investment, we have many Chamas that have enabled us go forward. We even have Chama forums every year where I invite you and tell you about these things. Before we wait for one year, I would like to give you some few tips on how to ensure your Chama doesn't become a waste of time. How can you ensure your Chama succeed? I'm a member of 2 Chamas currently, and I've been a member of many others, but they have been falling one at a time. You might have many stories. Today I'll try to give you just 3 stories so that we can be able to discuss this topic. Can you engage us? Can you tell us, are you a member of Chama? Do you believe in a Chama? Do you think a Chama can improve your welfare? Comment down there and tell us some of the things we should do to ensure our Chamas stay alive, so that we can be able to improve our lifestyles. We have many examples of Chamas that have succeeded. If you come together, great things happen. If you do something alone, you may not be able to pull the economies of scale. The advantage of going big, you may not have that advantage. Capital is rare in this country. Ideas are also something that are difficult to implement. But when you come together, you can be able to do great things. But why is it that we have not had so many serious successes in Chama despite having so many Chamas? An interesting statistics. We have 300,000 Chamas in Kenya. They keep the figure keep stable because there are those which are coming in so fast and there are those which are dying at the same speed. Most Chamas die in the first year of their coming together. Call it the first year of operation. That is a fact. But we still have many Chamas that stay on course. The ones that go past 5 years become extremely successful. Has your Chama been there for the last 5 years? Do you have so much money in the account but you guys, even a meeting is a problem? Do you have Chamas where you are struggling and fighting for about leadership? Do you have Chamas where you commit, then you forget as soon as you have committed? Do you have Chamas where people contribute and people are very happy and excited? Sometimes you feel like you have taken an inspiration drug, but you get to do nothing even after those meetings. There are many things I'm going to discuss today. Let me give you my first story. There's a friend who joined a Chama in 2010. This Chama had 10 people. The agreement was to contribute 5,000 every month. Of course, that is like 50,000 for the whole group. They contributed only for 4 months. However, the 5th month, 2 of the members dropped. That means 2 members, 5,000 every month. That is like 40,000. So the contribution or the accumulated funds reduced to 160,000 from 200,000. Higher. That was the beginning of problems, like I told you. That is the 4th month. In the next 2 months, 2 of the members started having challenges. Of course, we are not the same financially. They started having challenges of contribution. And their contributions were irregular. So the members were thrown out, and this further depleted the Chama savings. Toward the end of the year, remember we had 10 members, 2 have dropped, another 2 have dropped, we are now 6 members. Toward the end of the year, the members remaining, there were 6, they began purchasing a piece of property. And this is very popular, and we support Chamas that come to Username Investment. If you want to buy a property and you are Chama, the best company to come to. We are here to serve you. I know there are other organizations as well, but we have a support mechanism to ensure you succeed. We understand the dynamics of how Chamas work. So when they came together to purchase this piece of property, it was somewhere in Thika Road, only 3 members supported the idea. 2 wanted the Chama to start a business. We have these big ideas, and I'll give you another story as we go along, a story about one of my Chamas that went down. Then the 5 that remained realized they could not agree. So remember, 3 supported, 2 wanted the business to begin, and 1 requested for a refund. They had an emergency, and we had 6. Now we have 5. The 5 that remained decided to dissolve because they had so many of disagreements. We started with 10, they went to 8, 6, 5. A guy asked for an emergency, and we have these emergencies. Not to say that they are not there. So what happens? The 5 distributed the remaining money amongst themselves. We do this all the time, and that was the end of the Chama. 1 year, the Chama was dead, just like that. Are you in that situation yourself? And why are you in that situation? Your Chama story might be different. Why did you go down? By the way, you can tell us there so that we can also, down there in the comment section, we can also learn. The other Chamas, why did your Chama go down? Is it disagreement, big ideas that you did nothing? Others will be able to learn from you. We can be able to discuss this topic. The big question is, how do we ensure your Chama is not a waste of time? Number 1, you must have clear objectives from the beginning. I have to say this. People come together because of social reasons. You are together in campus. We have many groups of people. You are together in college, even in high school, in primary school. After you meet for Nyama Choma, then you say, guys, can we come together and start contributing money and buy land? People are getting rich. People are excited. When they appear, people are getting rich and wealthy. But you don't get to understand what are the dynamics of getting ahead, the dynamic of succeeding. The first thing, have clear objectives from the beginning. These objectives must be written. You have Chama constitution. Why are we coming together? Is it just to eat Nyama Choma? To meet somewhere and drink? Is just for sport? Is this a socialization group? One of the things we define, we have like 3 objectives. One is social, the other one is spiritual, and the last one is investment. We have those 3 objectives. Every year in the AGM, we have to check where we are at each and every objective. Number 2, those objectives should be very clear. If you talk about spiritual, what are you talking about? If you talk about social objectives, what are you talking about? Maybe very easy. If somebody has an event that is of social nature, you attend and you contribute something which is defined in the constitution. Someone has a rural show, someone has a wedding, someone is bereaved, someone is sick, or just someone has an important, for economic objective, and this is very important, and that's where most of the Chama, there are people who are in Chamas because they want to succeed in life, or their investment, or they do everything. So you have to define, what are you going to do with these savings? These are like savings. You contribute 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 every month. What do you do with those savings so that they work on your personal objective? Is this a saving objective? Is it an investment objective? So you list as a group. Like you say, every year we are going to buy a piece of land worth at least this much, right? Every year we are going to buy a house worth at least this much. It should be specific. Remember, when you are setting objectives, they have to be smart. They have to be measurable. They have to be very specific, and that's where I'm coming in. They have to be specific, measurable. They have to be something that you can be able to achieve. They have to be realistic, and many other things. You have to follow that. Number 1, have a clear investment objective, have clear objectives from the beginning, and they must be written. Number 2, lack of commitment. Remember, we are talking about why your Chama must be a waste of time. Do you see commitment in your Chama? And commitment comes in very many forms. Do you keep time during the Chama meetings? Do you arrive in good time, or you always have something that is happening? Remember, in the life we are living, we have so many things. There will always be an emergency. There will always be someone who is sick. There will always be someone who has another event. There will always be something, and we have so many. Do you always have members who have excuses in your group? And that is a question. Another question is it written? Do you have a constitution? Do you have rules and regulation? And this is where commitment comes in. You have fines, you have rules and regulation. What happens? I mean, one Chama, if you miss 3 times, you are out. If you don't come in good time, there's usually a fine, and it's very punitive. So people scramble. And I think you have seen ladies' Chama. I think this is very popular. The fine is usually 20 shillings, especially they are back in the village. That 20 shillings keep people in terms, and they are very serious. And because of that seriousness, they can only achieve more. Lack of commitment. Can you see commitment amongst all the members? If you can't see, your Chama is wasting your time. Number 3 is lack of planning and prioritizing. Planning comes in many forms and format. It comes early enough. Like I said, you have a constitution. Have you written your objectives? Do you know what you want to do? And planning comes in many forms, because in one of the Chamas we said we have to buy a piece of land in certain areas that are growing up. And it has to be an acre and above, and it must be this kind of. See, you can go somewhere, an acre is maybe like 20,000 shillings in maybe northeastern or somewhere. You must have that objective. So you plan early enough and say every year, and that's how we work. Every year, because it's a group, we must do this project. There is no year where we can close in December without saying we did this much. Without that, if you just meet, you don't know what you are doing, 1 year ends, another year comes, and there's nothing you can see. that Chama is wasting your time. So plan and prioritize. And that's why contributions are important. When you talk also about commitment, before I forget, commitment comes in time, this time, and there's also contributions. Remember, we contribute even in churches. We contribute to our relatives, we contribute to our families. But when it comes to a Chama, someone is not serious. Why are you going to move forward if you don't have the contribution, the capital, to be able to do exactly that? Number 4, and this is number 3, lack of investment and financial knowledge. You'll find Chamas come together, they are morphers in nature. You are in a comba, you are somewhere in a matatu somewhere, and you guys have a group. You work somewhere in a corporate organization. Maybe you are a group from high school or from college and stuff like that. So people come together, they don't have so much skill. So you'll find lack of financial and investment knowledge. In a group, they'll always be making the bad decisions. But this should never be a problem, and that's why we have consultants. You can ask someone who knows. For a small fee, they come and explain to you. We have many groups, especially online. We have even WhatsApp classes. We have Zoom classes that are very cheap. Members can go through that so that they understand. You'll be told, username will tell you about real estate investment, how you can be able to pool your resources together, buy a plot worth 200,000 in 1 year. If you are starting, maybe even more. People have bought, we have Chamas that have bought so many properties with that every year. They can number even 50. That is not a joke, over time. So we'll tell you about real estate and why it is important and how you can get in, how you can buy a property. Then you start there. Another person for a small fee will tell you about stocks. They'll tell you about unit trusts. I know people who can do that for a very small fee. Tell you about these investments. So invest in knowledge, and that's why Chama members need to attend forums like the one we organize every year. Move to seminars about investment so that you can be able to learn. The ideas you give comes out of the training that you have and the experiences that you have. So you'll find Chamas coming from all over. They have some good money, but the idea they choose, they just keep losing money. Number 4, different, I would call it different investment ideas, but it's more about confusion. I would call it confusion. You have members. Let me tell you the ideas that are floated. Number 1 is about real estate. People will want to buy land anytime. They want to buy houses, but there are more. There are people who also do flats. They build, put money together, they build flats. And people have done that, and it is very excellent. Members will also come and start buying, these days, also buying shares. There are also members who do agriculture, which is very popular. People come together, they want to farm cabbages, capsicum, they want to farm skuma wiki and all those things. But remember, these operational overheads. I've seen a group that wanted to do distribution business. Basically, they get cereals from the mashambani, then they come and sell it in the city. That is an operational intensive kind of business. The other are chamas that want to do trading. They want to come, buy land like username does, subdivide, create gated communities, but they don't understand the intricacy of doing the same. There are all manner of big ideas that are floated. So what happens when they come in our meeting? People start fighting. You want your idea to be picked. You actually believe is the best. But that's why we talked about having some level of training. Once in a while, call someone who will talk to you. Username, I've been called to Chamas. I go talk about investment. People ask questions. By the end of the session, most people have said, no. I think we should not do stocks. We are not good there. We should not do agriculture because I can't leave my job in username investment to go and water some crop somewhere. So these differing ideas are one of, if you have differing ideas, it is okay. But if you can't agree on one idea to move forward, that Chama is wasting your time. Number 5, we have distraction from some few Chama members. There are people who come with their own objectives. Like I said, ensure you know your personal objective first before you go to a Chama. Do you want to socialize? Do you want a chama for spiritual reasons? Maybe you want to enrich your spiritual life and you have realized these guys, they are walking with God, they are moving. You see, these are prayerful guys and you join. Is your purpose or objective to be rich or financially stable? You need to define what you want with a chama before you join so that you are not disappointed and so that you're able to move. So you'll have members with different objectives. I know members who have put their savings there. They don't have any other saving mechanism except that Chama. There's another member who have investment out there. The Chama is just another way of another investment, a 10th investment. There are members who don't even bother. They just contribute. They will come to the meetings, but Chama is 100th of. They don't think the Chama can get them rich. There's also another group of friends who are there. They don't know what they are doing. So you'll have people pulling in different directions. There are people who want to come to meeting, they are so aggressive. The others who know this is a joke. So you'll have distraction from members. So they'll refuse to cooperate. You'll find someone who don't come to meetings and stuff like that. There's another person who is not serious if you want to buy land somewhere. If you want to do agriculture, which is okay, there's another member. So these distractions will be there. Like I said, with the different investment ideas, distraction should be there. Because we are different, we have different objectives. But what happens after those distractions? Do you crumble? Do you pull aside? Do you start fighting? Do you start gossiping? Do you start doing all manner of things? That is what matters. And that's why we started with objectives. You need to have a constitution and it has to be written. So that when you have different ideas, how do we resolve? How do we ensure we are moving together? How do we ensure our different objectives are factored in and they are well taken care of so that we remain together? I'll share another story about a chama I was in. Unfortunately, it went down. Because you see, chamas meet. People don't tell each other the truth. You're always afraid of the social relationship more than the investment one. So you'll find chamas meeting. They meet, they don't tell each other the truth. They give so many ideas, big ideas for that matter, but they have no idea what it takes to implement. So everyone goes home happy. It's usually like a drug, and they keep doing that. Big ideas, every meeting. Some have meetings even every week, every 2 weeks, every month, most of them, but they never get to do anything. So we met in one of the chamas. We are happy. It's like an inspiration session. People are happy now. We are moving together. They actually think that miraculously at some point we are going to get wealthy or we are going to get better. So we met, we floated many ideas, none of the ideas that are picked, and this is something with chamas. You pick ideas and because you don't want to make the other person feel bad, you don't critique it. You don't say it can't work. You keep quiet because the person who is, people have democracy. Democracy is where if you say something is black and it is white, and you are 10 of you, 9 out of 10 say it's black, but it is white. That becomes the reality and the truth, and that's what happens. They vote for an idea. Some people know it can't work, but they vote for it and go on. So we voted for an idea. We wanted to do onion farming somewhere. One of the pieces we have bought the previous year, we wanted to use it to make it profitable. What a nice idea, by the way. And everyone was happy. At least we are thinking, we want to utilize this land. So the following year, we decided to do onion farming. Of course, we needed water. We needed to fence the property, which we did. We dug a dam, which we did. We bought seedlings, and we had many ideas. We had our projections, and we saw the money coming, right? No one knew where the market is coming from at that point. We thought we would look for it. But that's not where the problem is. The problem came when we started having a rota to water these plants. So we said, and like I said, chamas is a democracy. You vote for ideas that don't work because you don't want to make your friend feel bad. Actually, you're in that mood, right? So we decided to have a rota, water this day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We never factored where people are coming from. Imagine going for 100 kilometers to go and do watering. You'll use a lot of fuel. You see those realities. So when it came to Monday, the first guy went. Tuesday, the guy also went. Wednesday, the guy did not go. And Thursday, I think we were remembering on Saturday asking, hey, have you watered the onions? I think up to date, when we meet, by Saturday they had started drying up. In 2 weeks there was nothing. So when we met, I think the first thing was to laugh at ourselves. And that story remains. Every time we meet with those guys, they talk about onions. Do you have onions in your group? Do you have ideas that flop because you lied to yourself? And this is a major problem. You meet, you have ideas, you lie to yourself, no one is committed on the ground to make them work. Even on our personal lives, we have big ideas, we read books, we go to seminars, we go to churches, and we are very happy the sermon was very good, but the following day the commitment has lapsed. There's a difference between motivation and commitment. You have to know the difference. Motivation is something that makes you feel good. Commitment is doing, is a verb, it's a doing word. Commitment is waking up when you don't feel like it, you don't have any motivation, you don't feel good, but you are determined to do it. So what lacks is commitment. You have big ideas, but they should be followed up with a lot of implementation action. So that is a big problem in my own opinion. The groups I have out of like 5, only 2 have survived. One is struggling, one is very strong, and we hope people are committed every month, and we have been able to do a lot. Let me give you another story, because there are so many stories in Chama. Maybe you can give us your own story there in a short few words. How many of you do you have a Chama? Do you think Chamas can help you? What mistakes have you done? What would you have done different to ensure your Chama succeeds? And what stories do you have? We also want stories of inspiration. We might invite you, especially for free, in our next Chama investment forum for username. So you can comment down there. There's a story about some guys, and I can't complete this live session without mentioning those guys. These are 7 guys. They came together. They worked in Nairobi in different jobs. Some were in banking, some were in insurance, in real estate, and many other sectors like communication. So they came together. They said their objective was to ensure every one of them has a house at the end of the 7 years. They were very objective, and they were time-based. Like we said, they have to be time-based, your ideas. Don't say we'll buy land. Say we'll be buying land for at least $1 million shillings every year. Maybe you'll be buying an acre every year in a good place. That's an objective. Their objective was to own a house, every one of them, at the end of the 7 years. So what they did, they are working. They came together. And the first house they did, they pulled all their savings. Commitment. Very important. Will you be willing to use your money to ensure you achieve an objective? Most of you will give 500 shillings, 1,000. Then you ask yourself, when you come together, how long will it take you to achieve your objective? You have to be very realistic. You can start with 1,000 shillings. I'm not saying there are some boda group. They were contributing 50 every day, but they were committed. It's about consistency. You have to look at the objective and ask yourself, is it realistic? In terms of the contribution, the time it will take. Someone has to think, if it will take 5 years and you are comfortable, you are better off than a guy who is blind. So the 7 houses, they bought the first houses by pulling their savings together. Remember, they had savings, they worked, and they were committed. Keyword, commitment is everything, not just in Chamas, but even in your personal life. So they bought the first one, then they realized they had a deficit. One of the guys took a mortgage on behalf, and because they had contributions every month that were enough, it used to pay. Remember, commitment is important, because imagine I pick a mortgage or a loan, then the guys stop contributing. I'll be left with that burden, but I can take over the property, right? So that's how they bought the first property, and they have been paying ever since. And remember, for Chamas, your income goes up if you're in business or in employment over time. So increase your contribution. So you can only do more. So in the second year, they realized we have been contributing, at least we acquired this house. And remember, for this house, they wanted a house where they can correct rent. That's another perspective. That's why people come with ideas. Have ideas. This one does this. You don't need a lot of money. What you need is ideas. The house was giving rent, so it was somehow paying the mortgage, right? So their contribution remained intact. So in the second year, they realized they had more money. These are big contributions. I know they do serious contributions, by the way. Second year, they realized they had more money and they could actually buy another one. And remember, the mortgage was being paid by the other one. Then they decided, because they have a relationship, relationships are very important. Some banks are tailored around the movement, the Chama concept. I know some of them and they listen to you. So they came together and the bank was somehow able to fund part, depending on the history. Some bank will refuse 100%, but there are few of them that are tailored around that. So by year 2, akienda kumaliza, they had 2 houses. Year 3, it was difficult for them because they had many obligations to pay, but they went on. By the time we met them last, I think they had 4 or 5 houses. Remember, there are 7. So wamebakisha 3. What happens when you start something? You get motivation. If you act, you move, you acquire something, and you see progress, that gives you motivation to continue. Go until you're in a Chama where you just meet to talk. You meet, you do nothing. If you meet and you have 1 shamba, 2 shamba, it gives you an impetus, a motivation to move forward. So the first house gave them a motivation to move to the next. It keeps going like that. Remember, when you come together, great things happen. If you try to acquire a house by your own, unless you have been in the job, you have been in your job for some time to be able to afford a mortgage for that, you wait for so long. I would rather start now in a small way, even if you are 10 people, and we are able to move forward, and we start acquiring something now. So be committed. When that time comes, have an objective and be as serious as is possible. Do you know, by 10th year, those guys will have acquired those houses. 10 years is a short time, my friend. Remember when you're in primary school, you can remember everything when you are in high school. If you are someone like me, 10 years ago, you can remember so many things. Some people have not changed. They will have their own houses, but if you try it alone, most likely, you'll get it maybe in year 10 with a big mortgage for 25 years, and you will not be able to cope. So chamas are good if you follow those laid down rules. So ensure you are committed. And the last thing I would like to say, you'd rather have a chama of 5 people who are very seriously committed rather than 20 people who are not committed. So the selection of people should also matter. If you move with 5 people who are extremely wealthy, you'll be the 6th, and this, as they say. If you move with 5 people who are very very lazy, you'll be the 6th one. Who are very unfit, you'll be the 6th guy, because the nature does not lie. Nature moves forward according to the group. Bad company corrupt good morals. That's the Bible that says. So you have to select. You'd rather have a few committed rather than many who are just all over and they are just giving excuses. The last story. This is a successful, very successful Chama story, and this will motivate you. Nanyuki Boda Boda operators, something I found in the internet. These motorcycle operators came together in 2011. That is 10 years ago. Like I said, so many things happen in 10 years, and you can remember everything that happened to you 10 years ago. Came together in 2011. They formed this Chama, and they were contributing 50 shillings every day. I think there were many. Every day, 50 bob. And they could borrow money to buy spare parts, of course, motorbikes, and of course, you know, our system, our police system. They get arrested every day. If you own a matatu, you get arrested almost every day. That is about business. So they could bail them out. Gradually, like I said, one achievement will motivate you to go to the next. It will push you, it will just escalate you up. That's what happened. So they increased their scope and registered a circle called Nabosa, Nanyuki Boda Boda Circle, with the aim of helping members buy new motorcycle. Remember, they started with 50 bob, they were servicing, and if you get arrested, you have bail. Now they registered a circle with the aim of buying motorcycle, and so many of them were able to buy, then they are able to pay back. As they got along, they got more motivated. Now, these guys, they started building houses for their members. This was birthed in 2015. That's like after 4 or 5 years. Now, these guys own houses worth 95 million shillings. These are people who make maybe 500, a good day maybe 2,000 when it's so lucky, but maybe 500 per day, maybe sometimes even 200. But now they own assets, houses, their homes worth 95,000. Ask yourself, these are Boda Boda guys. They do a good job. and some of them do so well, and they work extremely hard. Congratulations to them. I know some of them are watching. How much more can you be able to do if you have a much better income? In a corporate job, these guys are making 500 every day. People make 50,000 and above. Every year, 100,000. How much more can you be able to do? How much more? If these guys, but if you look at their story, you'll find 50 bob is compulsory, no excuses, nothing. They have to do it. If they have meetings, those guys go. They are so committed. If they have a decision they have to make, they'll go and make it and do it and start moving. The guy who is moving is way better. The guy who is moving and is not well endowed is way better than the guy who is so well endowed is doing nothing. They are stagnant. Stagnant water stink. So you have to be very careful. Are you moving? Are you committed? Do you have objectives from the beginning? Do you have disagreements? Do you have a constitution and it is written? Those are the key points. And I believe, and I know there are many stories that people are going to share. I believe if you follow these concepts, your Chama will be extremely successful. Thank you so much for watching us live. This is Reuben Kimani, CEO Username Investment Limited. I would like to ask you kindly to subscribe to our YouTube channel down there. Please like our Facebook page, follow us in Instagram so that we can be able to educate you. The reason we do this, there's something you can pick today, and tomorrow when you meet in a Chama, you will be able to share it and you'll be more motivated and more committed to act on their objectives. So this is a learning session. Share with us down there also. Tell us about success stories. Why did your Chama fail also? Give us tips so that other people can also be educated. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. We look forward to seeing you every other Thursday after 2 weeks as we talk about real estate investment. Every other Friday after 2 weeks as we talk about young people, about life, about moving forward, about transformation. God bless you so much. Have a nice afternoon.